Hello, my True North community, and a happy new year to you. I sincerely hope that you've had the most amazing time over Christmas and New Year, that Santa visited, and that you've got lots and lots of enthusiasm ready for an exceptional 2020. As promised, we're back on live, and we're going to be coming to you through this group on a Facebook Live every Monday afternoon at 1 p.m. with some more thoughts and ideas and suggestions taken from the research that we've done into the Adder Zero in order to be able to learn more about how to help you to add a zero to your personal disposable income. It's part of our mission to be able to help 10,000 business owners do just that. And every Monday at 1 p.m. for 30 minutes, I'll be sharing some of the research that we conducted and some of the information that we got as a result of studying more than 150 national business failures to understand more about how to be able to help you not become another statistic such as those, but avoid the things that cause such tragic failure of some of the biggest businesses on the high street and how you can benefit from their downfall. Before we start any further, I just want to quickly invite a few people, so just give me a second whilst I make sure that there are some people joining us. I've seen that there's a few already in the room. Good morning, good afternoon, Dave and Simon. Lovely to have you with us. I'm just making sure that people are aware. So just a few clicks here just to get a few more people in the room, and we'll kick off. So just give us a second or two. There's a few people I'd really liked to have on today. Just drop a message in the comments there and let me know that you're online, that you're doing well for yourself, and that things are good for you in 2020. Just a few more clicks here, just to get a few more people in the room. Marvelous. There we go. So, like I say, I'll be going live on this group at 1 p.m. every Monday afternoon, in order to be able to share a few thoughts and ideas about why or how to be able to go from growth to scale as part of our mission. And this week, there's no better time than when we start after the new year. I wonder as to how many of you made a New Year's resolution on New Year's Eve. I wonder how many of you toasted in the new year and said, in 2020, I'm going to commit to X, or I'm going to stop Y. Well, I'm very proud to say that, hi, Amanda, lovely to have you with us. Thanks very much. Well, I'm proud to say that I've made a few New Year's resolutions myself. First of all, for the month of January, in our house, we've gone vegetarian. We've gone Veganuary, I think it was referred to. So we've cut out meat for 31 days. And I've got to be honest with you, it's the 6th of January, and I'm feeling quite good. I'm not missing it. It's probably because we overloaded with meat over Christmas and New Year. But for the month of January, I've chosen to cut meat from my diet, and I've gone vegetarian. However, a bigger announcement in the personal side of things is based on a client of ours, a client of My True North, that did this last year, and the results that he had within his business were just phenomenal, and in his personal health and his achievements in sport. I've also chosen to take up the gauntlet and the mantle, and I've given up alcohol, not just for January. I'm not doing dry January. I've given up alcohol for 2020. I'm not going to raise a glass of anything other than lime cordial or a glass of water for the next 365 days. So there's my two commitments, and I've made it public. It's out there now. Everyone knows. So if you see me with anything other than a lime cordial, give me a tap round the head and remind me of my New Year's resolution. Nevertheless, without further ado, I want to quickly give some value. And one of the things that we found from investigating and researching more than 150 business failures across the UK, and I'm not talking about the corner shop or the pub round the corner. We researched over 4 years 153 national businesses in the UK that failed. Companies like Woolworths and Toys R Us and Tandy, Blockbuster Video. We looked at big businesses that had grown to a significant size and then subsequently failed because we wanted to understand why. You see, I'm a firm believer that you can always learn far more from failure than you ever will from success. Whenever you're enjoying success, you will ride the success wave as long as it keeps going. And it's only when the phone stops ringing and all of a sudden there's a panic on that we'll stop to find out as to what's gone wrong, and find out why. So I'm a firm believer we can learn lots from failure as opposed to from success. And what I've found by studying more than 150 national business failures is there was some very shocking and quite stark information that helped us to be able to subsequently create our Add a Zero business challenge. There are 3 fundamental flaws in more than 150 national businesses. And when we took this research and went to the Chamber of Commerce and the Federation of Small Businesses and asked them to be able to survey their membership, and we had over 170,000 responses, we found that at least one of the 3 flaws that we found in big business was just as prevalent in small business also. And that's shocking. That means that there is a risk that if we had a hard Brexit and things went terribly wrong, if the financial exchange was very difficult and we went into a different recession like we did in 2008, 2009, that there is the risk that more than 80% of small businesses across the UK were at risk of failure. And we can't allow to have that happen. So what we've set out is we've set out our mission over the next 24 months to be able to help 10,000 business owners to be able to add a zero to their personal disposable income. You see, turnover is vanity, but cash in the bank and cash in your pocket is sanity. So we want to be able to help 10,000 business owners to be able to add a zero to their personal disposable income. And to do that, we've got to be able to get our message and the information that we found from the research to as many people as possible who subsequently implement the things that we talk about. And today, it's about business and business planning. Because you see, out of the 153 national businesses that we studied, I was gobsmacked to find a percentage of them, quite a significant percentage of them, either didn't have a business plan, or the business plan was out of date, and it was years and years and years old, or it was simply not being followed. Maybe there was some maverick in the business that had decided to ignore all of the stuff that had been agreed in the business plan and go off on a tangent somewhere else. And there was a significant percentage, about 46, 47% of businesses that we found that had failed either didn't have a documented business plan, it had been discussed at the board but hadn't been documented and shared across the business that everyone understood where we were heading, or it was completely out of date. They'd maybe created a business plan to raise some funds or some finance prior to that, maybe years earlier, and hadn't kept the business plan up to date, or that the business plan was up to date but there was somebody simply not following it. So what I want to quickly share with you over the next, what have we got, 20 minutes, is my 5 reasons as to why you really ought to have a business plan and the benefits of doing so. And number 1 is, I call it the guide to growth. You see, Dave Crossman, I know that you're watching right now, and Dave is an exceptional guy if you want to do anything to do with 4x4. He is your 4x4 guru, Dave Crossman, lovely, lovely guy, and my God, what he knows about nuts and bolts and off-road driving is beyond reproach. However, if I was going to leave from our offices here, as you can see in Thailand, well, I wish it was. This is a lovely backdrop, but in actual fact, we're based here in Warrington, in Cheshire. But if I was to get in my car right now and to point towards London, I can't see London. And even though I know that that's my final destination, getting to the XL Arena in London, even though I know that's my final destination, there's no way on this earth that I can see the 160, 170 miles down south to where I'm going to park my car. At best, I can see to the end of the road. Now, I'm not sure how to get to the XL Arena. It's not imprinted in my mind. I don't know as to what's happening around the Bullring and Birmingham as to whether to go on the toll road or not. For that, I benefit from an built-in sat-nav device into my vehicle. And before I set off, I plan my final destination and I tell it as to whether I want to go the fastest route or the most economical route, or I tell it whether I'm driving a truck or a car or a bus with certain height restrictions or towing restrictions. I tell it as to whether I want to go on a toll road or not on a toll road, and it subsequently plans the most efficient and effective route for me. And then I can set off with confidence, knowing full well that a moment I can glance at the sat-nav and confirm that I'm heading in the right direction. And it's leading me closer and closer to my ultimate destination, the goal to where I wish to get. And the same goes for a business plan. You see, too many people are in the busyness of business. Too many people are so busy in the business that they aren't spending sufficient time working on the business to confirm that they're still heading in exactly the right direction, that they haven't been drawn off course, even if it's only by 1 degree, which is actually going to prevent them from ever achieving what they initially set out to achieve. Now, ironically, when we did the research of over 150 businesses, what we found is that all businesses can be fit into one of 5 different categories based upon their success against their original goals and ambitions and ideas, their original business goals and business plan. And what we found was that more than 80% of businesses were off track. They've been deviated off course somewhere. They're no longer pointing their nose as the crow flies directly to where they aimed to get to. And that is shocking. We are spending our time and effort day by day, week by week, month by month in our business, taking it further away from where we set out to achieve in the first place. And that's just bonkers. Surely, why would anyone spend any time in a business taking us further away from what we set out to achieve? It's like me leaving Warrington, trying to get to London and not having a sat-nav, and for some reason getting on the M6 North and finding myself in Preston before I realise there's a problem. I'm heading in the wrong direction. Whilst the A66 is a lovely route across to Newcastle, it's not getting me to the ExCeL Arena. You see the problem? Oh, well, I saw the M6, I just got on the wrong carriageway. And before you know it, I'm going north instead of south. It's bonkers. And yet the majority of businesses at some stage in their business and business development have been drawn off course, even if it's only by 1 or 2 degrees, which are taking them away and further and further and further away from the goals, ambitions, and ultimate aim of what it is that they set out to achieve. So first of all, a guide to growth. Number 1 reason for having a business plan is it becomes the map that enables you to steer yourself towards where it is that you've set out to achieve. That's the beauty of a business plan, is the fact that we can come up with a strategic plan that says this is what we're working towards, and then we can use it as our guide to growth, an ongoing living document that we refer to frequently in the business, and as opportunities come forward, as we start to see things pop up, or chances or opportunities, we can stop for a second and we can measure that against our business plan to say, is this likely to help us to achieve the goal at all, as quickly as or quicker than we'd originally planned in our business plan, or more effectively than our business plan? And what I mean by that is that my sat-nav was put in the car when the car was first built and launched in late 2017. Now, since then, there's been a number of new roads open and toll roads open and roadworks and closures that, unless I update the business plan, unless I update the sat-nav, I might come across something that said it was okay for me to go forward, and in actual fact, the road priorities and roads have changed since then. I need to be able to update the sat-nav So every year we download an update and it brings the plan up to date. So I know that every time that it points me in the right direction, I'm heading in the most economical and fastest route to my destination. And that's why a business plan ought to be kept up to date so we can use it as an effective map, a tool. Don't forget, you know, I've got my compass from My True North. I want to be able to make sure that I'm steering in the right direction and that every decision I make is the right ones towards the end destination. So number one, a guide to growth. Number two, to be able to manage priorities. You see, there are too many business owners that get sidetracked by what I call SOS, or shiny object syndrome. It can be so easy to be drawn off course. It can be so easy to start doing other things. And I'm not talking about necessarily drawn off course, but with so many different things happening right now in business, with so many different priorities with regards to what we need to do and when to need to do and how to need to do, it can be easy for us to be able to start to be able to, I don't know, to put the fuel in before we've thought about packing the vehicle. Perhaps a better example would be, there's no point me putting all of the stuff and the bikes and the bike rack on the back of the car if actually Stelling needs to get into the boots to be able to put the camping equipment in. I've got to be able to have the right priority of what to do and when to do and where to do, so that when I set off on my journey, everything's in the right place and I can make good progress. And yet the problem is that if we don't have a plan to be able to follow, if we haven't come up with a strategic overview, and then we've subsequently created some management responsibilities with regards to what needs to happen, when needs to happen, and the order it needs to happen in, then there's the risk that we could create this bottleneck of all the things that we need to do, or perhaps ought to be doing, but not quite sure about the priority or the order in which we need to be able to do them. So a business plan really helps to be able to, one, come up with a strategic overview, a plan of what to do, and then subsequently a more managerial structure with regards to what and when and how to do the things that needs to be done and the order that needs to be done in. So number two, manage priorities based on the goals and aspirations that we want to be able to achieve. Number three is assign responsibilities. You see, Rome was not made in a day, and neither will your super successful business. There will be times throughout your 2020 where you will need to call upon other people within the business or around the business to be able to help you move from growth to scale. Now, if you want to know more about that, I'm lovely to be able to have a conversation with you, and we do offer a 30-minute free consultation for anyone that wants to be able to learn more about how to be able to go from growth to scale. Because I genuinely believe that in order to be able to move to scale and stay at scale, there must be a minimum of 5 people to which the business owner has within their inner circle, their inner team. I can talk to you about that if you want to be able to have a phone call with me. It's simply www.mytruenorthuk full stop, you can book full stop me. And I'll put a link in the comments at the bottom when I finish delivering this live. However, assigning responsibilities, there's a massive call for you not to be doing all of the work yourself. You're simply going to burn yourself out if you're trying to be able to move from a growth model to a scale model and to manage and sustain that for the next 12 months throughout 2020. We've got to have a team of people to which we can help us to achieve the goals of the business. However, the problem is the fact that usually we find too many people holding on to too much of the responsibilities. Oh, but it's my little baby. Your business isn't a baby. It needs to learn to grow up and graze its knees every now and again and fall over and get back on the bike. A business has to be able to evolve, and we've got to allow the business to evolve without us having to mollycoddle and nurse every single party to it. And therefore, a business plan allows us to be able to identify as to who ought to be the best person and best fit for the jobs and roles and responsibilities, and how best to be able to allocate that responsibility, not abdicate, but allocate that responsibility so you can become more of a business manager and manage the growth of the business by other people's collective performance, as opposed to simply thinking that you've got to take on the world and conquer it all yourself. So number 3 is be able to assign responsibilities to other people. And like I say, if you'd love to know more about our 4 Ds of management, then simply book a call with me, and I'd love to be able to talk about that with you and your business. Number 4, on the 5 reasons why you need a business plan, is to be able to track progress. You see, the amount of times that I have complimentary calls with prospective new clients and say, so where are you against your business plan? What sort of a percentage have you already achieved this year, and what's still outstanding? And they just look at me blankly. They either haven't got the business plan in the first place, or it's not up to date, or they've not been following it, as we know from 177,000 responses from small business owners, or they've got no idea as to whether they're on track. They haven't got the right systems and processes in place to be able to monitor and manage their efforts to consider as to whether this is actually getting them closer to or further away from what they set out to achieve. You see, the only constant in life is that of change. Just assume that there is a good, strong current in the river. And if you're not swimming with it, you're swimming against it. And what I mean by that is, unless you are making progress towards your goals, then the very fact that time is marching on and you're not getting closer to them means that you're automatically moving further and further away from them. So we've got to have a method to which we can measure and manage all of the efforts and the activity that we put out there to establish its effectiveness in being able to deliver the results that we're looking for. So one, we've got to have a goal set out within the business plan, and then within the business plan also, we've got to be able to have some checks and measures to determine as to, are we on track, or have we been sidelined, have we been taken off course by that 1 or 2 degrees that'll prevent us from ever achieving what we set out to achieve. So there's 4, and the 5th one of our priorities as to why you would want a business plan within your business and why you ought to have a business plan within your business is a plan for cash. If you're trying to raise finance, and if you're not now, then you might need to at some stage in the future, because ironically, growth demands cash. It's as simple as that. You cannot significantly and sustainably grow your business by simply relying on organic growth. That, to me, is a lifestyle business that says, I hope to get here by the time I retire. I'd love to be able to go and live there by the time I'm 60. And what you don't appreciate is how the world is changing, how your health is changing, how your priorities change, that by the time you aim and can afford to get there, that ain't when you want to be anymore. You know, my grandfather worked every single hour of his life with the promise to be able to take my grandmother around the world on an around-the-world cruise once he retired. And he had a heart attack and died 4.5 years before he was due for retirement. We cannot plan for a business of a lifestyle business if we want to be able to move into this scale model that simply allows you to be able to enjoy life today as opposed to putting it all off for a rainy day. So if you're trying to raise investment into the business, then it's essential to be able to have a business plan. They're not going to take you seriously at all until you can provide a business plan. And ironically, if you don't want to have to personally insure the lend from the bank into the business, if you don't want to become a personal guarantor for the money that you're borrowing, that if the business fails, that they come after you and your house and your mortgage and your kids, if you don't want to have to be a personal guarantor, then the strength of your business plan will determine as to whether they expect that or demand that as a consequence. If you write a damn good business plan with a business to support it, then there is no need whatsoever to become a personal guarantor into your business if the plan is sufficient to demonstrate the competencies of you and the team within the business and your goal and your financials. So I'm hoping that what you've found over the last 27 minutes has given you a real indication as to why having a business plan is essential if you want to be able to scale this year. However, it would be unfair and unethical of me to take up all of this time of yours, the 24 and a half, 25 minutes I've been online, and not to give you something other than some good advice. Therefore, if you were to visit www.mytruenorth.club, not .biz, that's our normal standard website, but if you were to visit www.mytruenorth.club, and again, I'll put the link in here at the bottom, you can register for free. There is no sign-up costs whatsoever, and you will find in our QM stores a business plan template ready for you to get started and a step-by-step guide as to how to complete it. I can't say further than that. I've asked you and invited you to be able to take out a business plan. I've suggested you 5 good reasons as to why every business that is looking to scale in 2020 really ought to have one. And we've then provided you with the resources to be able to go away for free. There's a PDF and a Word document that you can download, fill in, and a guide as to how to do so. So by the end of next week, you could have a 2020 growth plan to be able to help you grow you and your business. Now, just as a side, I want to quickly finish with a quick promo. We have got a 2020 goal-setting masterclass running here in our offices in Warrington on Thursday of next week, the 16th of January. It's a full day. We'll be sharing you lots more information with regards to the 3 reasons, not just the one that I've talked about today, as to why big business fails and how to overcome it. I'll also be sharing the 7 things that you must do if you want to be able to hit and maintain a 7-figure income in 2020 and beyond. And I'll be talking about the 8 segments required in every business in order to be able to scale rather than simply grow. I'd love to have you with us. Again, I'll put a link in the bottoms tomorrow, in the comments below, but it's advertised in Eventbrite, and you'd be more than welcome to come and join us on our 2020 goal-setting masterclass in Warrington, in Cheshire. It's very close to a train station if people don't want to drive. It's a full day. It includes your lunch, and you'd be more than welcome to come and join us on our 2020 goal-setting masterclass. That's Thursday of next week, the 16th of January. I'll be back on Monday next week to be able to talk to you about where to start when writing a business plan, about being able to get the business plan summary right, and to understand a little bit more of the fundamentals about what to include in the business plan. I hope you've got something from today. Please leave a comment below, and if you'd like to know other business owners that would benefit from the information we are desperately wanting to share with 10,000 business owners on how to be able to add a zero to their personal disposable income, then please share this video, share the page, invite people to come in. We are keen to be able to support other small business owners to be able to significantly and sustainably grow both them and the businesses. I sincerely hope you got something from today, and have a great week. I look forward to being able to share some more with you on Monday at 1 p.m. here in the My True North community. Take care and have a great week.